Controlling, the net is empty, he throws it down, and in! He scored a goal! Martin Brodeur!
The hockey gods are Red Wing fans too, it appears. The Lightning have done it! They have done it! They have gone back to back!
Unbelievable.
Welcome to another episode of Shut Your Five Hole and Listen. I'm Muffy.
And I'm Stephanie, and we are back to break down some of the latest hockey news, teach you about the basics, and then in our third section, our third period, if you will, anything goes. And I think we have a fun one today.
I think so. So why don't we just dive right into what's going on in the NHL these days?
Yes. Should we talk about the push notification that made your brain explode?
The fact that the Jonas Brothers are performing the pregame concert at the Stadium Series? Yes, I think we should.
So I don't know if the Jonas Brothers has come up on our podcast before, but you're a fan, Muffy? You're a fan?
A big fan. I have not missed a single one of their concerts, and guess what? I'm still not going to miss one now.
So Muffy and I are going to the Stadium Series. We're going to see the Devils Philly game. And I don't know why I said Devils and Philly instead of Devils and whatever. It doesn't matter. Same, but different. And, you know, the Joe Bros are Jersey boys.
They sure are. And they've been showing up at hockey games a lot lately. During their tour, they have been popping in to different games. They were at the Edmonton Oilers game recently. So, you know, hockey fans, Jersey boys.
Well, and they are of an age where the Devils were good and winning cups.
Yes. So,
you know, you grow up with a good team, you become a hockey fan. So that's exciting. Yes. Yeah, the email I got from our tickets was about the time shift in the games, and I've never seen so many exclamation points in a Ticketmaster email. And I was telling Muffy, they said Jonas Brothers so many times it felt like they were invoking Beetlejuice. It was like Jonas Brothers, Jonas Brothers, Jonas Brothers. So it should be fun. They've been doing a lot of fun content around it, but I'm happy to see that they have a big name at one of these games again.
Yeah.
The NHL sometimes is not always the best at having musical artists that are, I would say, relevant. Mm-hmm. So this was a good choice. Even if I'm not a huge Joe Bros fan, I know you are. Mm-hmm. And I know a lot of people are going to get super excited about this.
Yes. And you're going to be a Joe Bros fan after this. They're amazing live.
I don't doubt it, but I'm not going to probably not going to sit down and go, today I'm listening to the Jonas Brothers.
Just you wait. Just you wait.
Okay. Oh my! It'll be either way. It will be fun. We'll have our snow pants on. Mm-hmm. We'll give you the breakdown after it.
We sure
concert
will.
And game. So another thing that is happening, or potentially could be happening, is the Washington Capitals, according to the Washington Post, along with their basketball counterparts, might be getting a new home.
It's true. They may be moving out of DC and into Virginia.
Not like super far, like Alexandria. Literally right around the corner from our friend Nell.
Literally. She may have sent us a map showing us where her Target is that she shops at and where the arena would be.
Yeah, so potentially RIP Target. But then there was news that this might not be happening, that it might be staying in DC if the owner gets, it's a whole mess, really. It sounds like
it is a whole mess.
It sounds like a negotiation between a rich person and a city, and we'll see what happens. But you know, we were talking about the Arizona Coyotes looking for a new place to play.
Just gonna say, it feels somewhat similar to when, well, same, but different. Again, the Arizona Coyotes being like, we're not leaving. Whereas this case is like, you don't want to give me the arena I want, we're going to leave.
Yeah. And I feel like this happens in a lot of sports. It's a game of chicken between the owners, cities, because it is debatable how much money sporting events actually bring into the surrounding areas, and should the taxpayers pay for upgrades, renovations, all that good stuff. But no one wants to see their team leave, and no one wants to see their target destroyed.
No. So, more to come on this, I'm sure.
More to come. We'll have to do like a roundup at the end of the season about buildings and arenas.
That would be kind of funny.
So there's also lots of crazy things going on in the standings.
What is going on with the teams this year?
Well, in one sense, it's good because anything can happen.
Yes.
In another sense, there's a lot of head scratching going on. So one of the teams we've been talking about, and their record has been the Edmonton Oilers.
Yeah. I think in our first episode, I was like, they could be cup contenders this year. And at this point, at time of recording on December 16th, they are not even in a wild card position for the playoffs.
And the Arizona Coyotes are.
Which is shocking.
Which is shocking because did you see that thing where I cannot remember the baseball player's name?
Oh, yeah. How he makes more than the entire worth of the team.
Yeah, so there are baseball players who make more than the entire Arizona Coyotes, and they're currently in the playoff position. And Edmonton Oilers, who are pretty stacked with stars, are not. But we've been talking about this whole season how the Oilers just can't seem to get consistency.
No. Every time you think they're going to turn it around, they don't.
They don't. And, they had an 8-game streak going, and everyone was like, they're back. This is under new coaching. They're going to be amazing. And then the Tampa Bay Lightning swoop in, who have been doing horrible on the road, and beat them in a game where Steven Stamkos had 4 goals and Andre Vasilevsky had 53 saves. So yeah. That I would also say that's called a Lightning special, where they just like pull it out of their butt. And had no business winning that game, but they did. But still, that also speaks to a team that there's no reason why the Oilers should have lost that game, and they did. And that's consistency. So we'll keep you updated on the Edmonton Oilers, but Connor McDavid cannot be happy.
He cannot be happy. Don't want to be in that locker room right now.
I don't either.
Now, one of the other teams we've been talking about is the San Jose Sharks, because, they went on a really, really long streak before they even won a game.
And there was a really long period of time where the Hughes brothers had more points than the entire team.
Right, that too. But now they've pulled in some wins, and they are no longer in last place in the Western Conference, but the Chicago Blackhawks are, who everyone had I won't say like the highest hopes for from last season to this season, but had much higher hopes given the first round draft pick of Connor Bedard.
Oh, Connor Bedard is doing well.
Mm-hmm.
So there's that. Weirdly, they've been playing worse since the Corey Perry thing. And I'm not saying that's Corey Perry himself. I think there's just a lot of weird vibes. Like, I think it's just weird vibes. The team just has weird vibes right now. And
well, and who knows how much they know.
That's true. They may not know
too. So then that's going to make things weird too.
Yeah. So we'll keep watching it, but the Chicago Blackhawks it's been tough to watch the Blackhawks for the past few seasons. And Chicago is such a great sports city, and they love that team. Mm-hmm. And it's been painful. And yeah, you get the high of having Connor Bedard, and you're starting to make some moves, and it's just like plummeted. And not like the Sharks are like rocketing to the top here either, but you don't want to be worse than the San Jose Sharks this season. Let's put it that way. Not a good look.
The team that, could have been the AHL team.
Oh my God. Back to our Swedish Hockey League things and how they do the relegation stuff.
Yeah.
That would make things so much more interesting.
It would. There's a lot of AHL teams too.
There are.
But then I wonder how the farm system would work in that case, because if you automatically get like bumped up to the NHL, you're no longer a farm league for one of the other ones.
That's true. I don't know. You'd have to redo the whole league, but it would be fascinating.
It would be.
It would be.
All right, should we get back on track with the standings and talk about the Eastern Conference now?
Yes, we should talk about some crazy things going on in the Eastern Conference. I can't talk today. Yes, the Eastern Conference. Let's talk about weird things going on there.
So Philly didn't have a great time last season, but now they're, looking like they could possibly make the playoffs this year. Again, time of recording, December 16th. Still plenty of time to play, but they are in third in the Metropolitan Division right now.
And teams that are not in playoffs right now are the New Jersey Devils and the Tampa Bay Lightning. And I have thoughts on both of these.
Okay.
Do you have thoughts?
Well, here's the first thing I'm going to say is I was always curious of if different teams were going to make it into the playoffs this year, who from the Eastern Conference was going to get knocked out, because they're all very close to each other. And right now you've got the Philadelphia Flyers and the Detroit Red Wings in potential playoff spots with the current standings, which does knock both the Devils and the Lightning out. But I didn't see both of these teams being out of the playoffs.
These are my thoughts.
Share.
I could still see the Lightning potentially not making it. That said, when Stamkos is on fire and healthy, he's good. Mm-hmm. And Nikita Kucherov has been shooting the puck.
He is the first player in the NHL to have 50 goals this year. I think that was what I saw.
Yes. And when Nikita Kucherov shoots the puck,
yes,
everyone's got to watch out.
Yes.
And Vasi's back. You have to remember they started off the year without Andrei Vasilevsky. So that's how you win games you shouldn't win.
Right.
Is having Cooch on fire.
Oh, that was good.
You win games by having Nikita Kucherov is on fire. Steven Stamkos is healthy, and Andrei Vasilevsky in net. There's a lot of things that lifts the whole team. That said, they're still struggling with defense. They're still struggling with their third and fourth lines. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of things there that I could see them not making the playoffs and Kucherov having his best season.
Yeah.
Which would make things interesting for the Lightning in the offseason. The Devils came out hot, real hot, and then Nico Hischier got checked to the head and was out.
Good.
Then Jack Hughes was out. Mm-hmm. Then Timo Meier was out. Mm-hmm. Holo was out. The whole team was out. And then Jack Hughes came back before most of them. And this is a really good example of one superstar does not make your team. It's a team. Mm-hmm. And with the Devils, everyone's talking about, they have a goaltending problem. I don't think they have a goaltending problem. I actually think my good friend Frenchie Braces, also known as Vitek Vanacek, I actually think he's solid, and I think he's going to do better, especially when he has a whole team in front of him. And now that all those guys are back, the Devils are winning again.
Yeah.
So things are going to get interesting, and I could see Detroit staying in the playoffs more than I could see Philly.
Yes, I could see that too, depending on when Dylan Larkin comes back, because also, man was checked to the head and was unconscious on the ice.
Do you feel like there's a lot more checking to the head this season?
Yes. They seem a little nasty out there.
I know guys are getting suspended for it, but it just seems like I don't remember this many players being out with concussions from being checked to the head and superstars. It's like people are gunning for the stars.
Yeah. It's dirty. Those messy players.
I do still think Detroit, though, could make it into the playoffs even if Larkin's out long term. I think they have a good mix. I think they have a solid, it's like the Devils. I think they have a team again. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You will be in a much better position when he's back, but but you have a team, and that's the difference. The Lightning, I don't feel like they have a full team at the moment.
Yes, I think they're still trying to figure it all out.
Yeah. Crazy stuff.
Well, we'll see.
We'll keep tracking it for you. But yeah.
Maybe in another month or so, we'll check the standings again and do this same little thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good time. Mm-hmm. Shall we shift leagues and talk about really exciting news?
We absolutely should. We are very excited to talk about women's hockey because the Professional Women's Hockey League is set to start January 1st. And not only did the team out of Toronto sell out their season ticket memberships, they have also sold out on single tickets to their home games.
So every single game in that building is going to be packed. It's exciting. It's really exciting, and it's really encouraging. And I'm hoping some of that spills over to the US because if it's not going to sell out in Canada, where is it going to sell out?
Right, exactly. I also hope that the PWHL team in Toronto has a winning season because the people of Toronto deserve a hockey team that wins. And they're not getting it with the Maple Leafs.
No, they're not. I did, and I feel like that would be right. I feel like that would be right.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Women come in to get the job done.
Yeah, I think it's amazing that that team has already captivated the hearts of their city, and it's going to be exciting. Women's hockey, it's just as fast. Mm-hmm. There won't be any checking. Well, there might still be checking.
There might be.
But,
just that's a big penalty in women's hockey.
Still big penalties. But we'll see. I'm excited for them. I'm excited. We talked about this before, but I'm excited to see the 3-on-3 in the All-Star game. Yeah. And we'll definitely be breaking that down along with all the rest of the fun happen at the All-Star game. So we'll start trying to watch those games and report out on them as well because women's sports are important.
Yes, they are. And I know I've told you this, but I don't think I've mentioned it on the pod before. But I have also decided that my fandom is going to be with PWHL Toronto for the pure fact that Sarah Nurse is on the team.
And isn't it the closest to Detroit?
It is. It is of what's up there.
I still haven't picked my team, but I guess I should pick New York, but it just feels weird. But it's not.
I mean, you could pick something totally random like Ottawa. Who's to say you have to pick New York because you're from Jersey?
That's true. But on the one hand, it feels like abandoning my region. And on the other hand, it feels like, well, hockey is the only professional. No, there's soccer, but I think we technically share that with New York. So hockey is really the only professional sport that New Jersey has left. Mm-hmm. And I guess I support a New York baseball team. I guess I could support a New York women's hockey team.
All right. Well, maybe by the next episode, you'll have decided.
Maybe I should go look at the team lineups.
Yeah,
maybe that's
a good idea. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Their merch has also dropped, but because they don't actually have team names and logos yet, it's all pretty generic, so I don't think that'll help you out either.
No, but it's cool. Yeah. I'll figure it out. I'll figure it out by January.
All right,
sounds like I kind of have to figure it out by January.
Yeah, you gotta be rooting for someone.
Gotta be rooting for someone. So. I think that wraps up our first period.
Yes, we'll be back shortly with our period 2, where we break down the basics. And we are back for period 2. And today we're going to talk about a couple more penalties. We've already gone through hooking and other things, holding, slashing maybe. But today we're going to talk about interference. And interference, you're going to see the ref do a little Wakanda Forever signal. And that's going to let you know there's an interference penalty called on the ice.
And Muffy, what does an interference penalty mean?
So interference is when a player uses their body to impede on the progress of an opponent who is not carrying the puck. So that is key to this, is that the player does not have the puck when the opposing team player crashes into them or bumps into them or tries to trip them up, but not actually trip them, because that's a different call.
Yes, and it's a pretty important one because, yes, the whole goal is stopping the guy with the puck from getting the puck into the net, but you also have to allow the other team to essentially work as a team, and you can't just be like, sorry, you don't have the puck. I don't want that guy to be able to pass the puck to you. So I'm just gonna stop you. I'm just gonna stop you right here. I'm just gonna be like,
Can't do that.
Can't do that. Sorry.
And sometimes you'll see interference be a little controversial, because sometimes the player will have gotten rid of the puck maybe 5 or 6 seconds before that. And there's always that judgment call of, were they close enough to have hatting the puck that the hit's okay? Or has the puck been out of their possession long enough that it's an interference call?
And I will also hazard that a lot of times, because it is so close, that I feel like even if you've passed the puck, whatever hit you have just imparted on that person probably wouldn't have been a great hit anyway, and you might have gotten a penalty.
Right.
They're not usually calling interference willy-nilly.
No. That one's a pretty obvious one.
Yeah. But Muffy, isn't there another kind of interference?
Love when you use that voice to ask the questions. There is indeed. There is goaltender interference.
But still my heart.
I know, your favorite, the goaltenders. The goaltenders are getting interfered with.
How dare you touch them? Don't interfere with my goaltenders.
Yes. So this happens when a player on the attacking team manages to interfere with the goaltender, impeding them from being able to make the save. So
yes,
this could be, and it has to happen within that little blue painted circle or half circle in front of the goal. If the goaltender is moving out of the blue paint, it's his own risk.
Yeah, and technically it's fair game, but like honestly, if your goaltender is like in, well, he wouldn't be in the corner because we'll get to the trapezoid at another point in time. If he is near the corner or he is behind the net, no one's going to look kindly if you like, you know, barrel through the goaltender. Like,
yeah,
there's still like the unwritten rule, like don't check the goalie.
Right, right. You will see the players all start fighting and hitting and, you know, everything to protect their goaltender.
Even when your goaltender instigates it.
Yes.
Shesterkin, yes. Anyone. Loves to instigate.
But anyways, goaltender interference definitely it can cause goals to be reversed too. So let's say the player on the attacking team scores a goal after one of the players or that same player has bumped into the goaltender, making it so he is not able to make the save. That goal will come back.
Yeah. And it's one of those things, like, you got to be sure, though, if you're challenging that for goaltender, you got to be sure, because there are consequences if you were wrong.
That is true.
You'll see a lot of players spend time either in the blue paint or just around that crease of it that are always, you know,
the Corey Perrys of the world.
The Corey Perrys, the Hot Kachuk. Why can't I ever remember his first name?
Right? Now you're making yes.
The Panther Kachuk. Maybe I'll just stop calling him the Hot Kachuk and just call him the Panther Kachuk.
Okay.
Sternum Kachuk. There's so many things. Anyway, players like that, they score a lot of goals that way, and they're kind of menaces,
right? If
they are not on your team. But guys who do it well, you know, it's like a go big or go home thing. But yeah, don't screw with the goalie.
No, don't screw with the goalie. You do not want to do that. And if you do interfere with the goalie, not only are you going to get a penalty or a goal reversed, you're also going to face the wrath of the team whose goalie you interfered with.
It is true. No one likes that.
No, they do not.
They're like, the goalies of the team are like the babies in a sibling group. Like, don't mess with the baby. The baby's the most protected. Yes. The baby's
like
also the most insane.
Well, that fits with goaltenders too.
Yeah, it does. But they're the last line of defense.
Yes, they are. But with that, I think we've covered interference and can close out this period too.
See you on the other side. So we are back for period 3, the period where anything goes.
Anything goes.
Sometimes we give you a little hockey history. Sometimes we give you facts. Sometimes we do a little bit of both.
And today we get to do a list, which are my favorites.
Yes, Muffy loves the lists. So today we were doing a list of 3 of our favorite defunct teams. We won't say top because this is another one that we might do in the future because there's a lot of stories you can tell with them. But we're each going to pick 3 defunct teams and tell you a little bit about them.
Yeah.
Muffy, do you want to start us off?
Sure. So my first team that I'm picking is the Quebec Nordiques.
Ooh, I almost picked them.
Yes. So I don't know how I didn't know about them for as long as I did when they were around till like 1995, but I didn't until I was at a Red Wing game. And it was the last Red Wing game of the season, and they had been having like a longest sellout record of Joe Louis Arena for the record books for the Red Wings. And clearly they must have been getting to a point where they didn't think this sellout was going to happen, or they just had a really big group sales initiative. But like 200 Quebec Nordique fans were in the building in like jerseys and shirts and everything. They were the ones riding the Zamboni. They had a whole little video message that was like, as long as you don't have a team, you're always welcome here.
That's wild.
It was wild. So then I had to look it up because I was like, what team is this? I've never heard of them. So my bad for, not knowing our neighbors to the north who had been around for a while.
They were around for a hot minute though, right?
Yeah. From the 70s to the 90s.
That's a pretty long run.
Yeah. And somehow totally off my radar until that moment. But then when I was living in New York and I would go to the NHL store anytime I was in that part of town and passed it, I found a Quebec Nordique sweatshirt and I had to buy it because I was like, where am I ever going to find this again? Gotta love it.
Gotta love it. That's a good one. I did almost pick them. I somehow knew about the Quebec Nordiques. I think just because I liked saying it.
That could be. Do you know where they ended up going?
No, I do not.
They became the Colorado Avalanche.
Oh, did not know that.
Yep. That's where those coloring of the Avalanche comes into play, is because it's the same coloring as the Quebec Nordiques.
Fascinating. This is why defunct teams are fun.
It is. It is. What team do you want to talk about?
All of the teams I'm talking about are somehow related to places where I have lived. So I knew about the Atlanta Thrashers because I watched them.
I did not know about the Atlanta Flames.
Yes.
So
with their connection to Calgary.
Yes, which that's why I'm like, normally when teams move, they don't keep the name. And in this case, in 1980, when the Atlanta Flames moved to Calgary, it's crazy. It's bananas. But the thing that I think is the funniest thing about this, and it is so Georgia. So in 1971 is when this expansion but the expansion was announced. Meaning in 72-73 season is when Atlanta got this team. And the name Atlanta Flames comes from because, Atlanta was burned in the Civil War.
Oh.
And so
what?
That's
awkward.
So awkward. And then so I went to college in Savannah, and Georgia is obsessed. And I get it, Sherman burned a lot of things, Civil War. But Savannah, they prided themselves on Sherman didn't burn us because we gave up. And I'm like, I don't know if that's a good thing. So the fact that I'm looking up defunct teams for this segment and I see the Atlanta Flames that are named after the burning of Atlanta, I'm like, that's so dark and so Georgia.
Yeah.
But the other thing that I love, his name is Boom Boom, and it's Flames, and Atlanta burned. I was like, this is bananas. Bananas.
That is a lot. That is a lot.
Yep. And then they moved to Calgary.
But then Atlanta had another hockey team.
They did.
The Atlanta Thrashers. Started in 1999.
Yep.
And what's funny is they became the Winnipeg Jets, who had been in existence.
Part 2.
Yes, I was going to say, who had also been in existence before, much like Atlanta had a hockey team before.
And they keep talking about maybe bringing another team back to Atlanta. I actually think, and we've talked about this before, but I do think if they brought a team to Atlanta now, I actually think it would do much better than it did the first 2 times because there is so much more of a hockey culture in the South now.
It's true. It would also be funny because we've speculated that the Arizona Coyotes could be the team that happens with. It would also be funny because this plays right into the little triangle of defunct teams because Winnipeg went to Arizona. Atlanta went to Winnipeg.
Yes, they did.
If you then have Arizona go back to Atlanta, it's a whole little messy triangle.
It's just crazy. Okay, so who's your number 2 team?
So the second one that I picked was the California Golden Seals.
Ooh, they have a cute logo.
They do have a cute logo. A lot of this also goes back to my collection of random hockey t-shirts that I like to wear places just to be like, I'm a fan of hockey. Because anytime I find apparel of a defunct team, I have to buy it. I just do.
Oh, I don't think I knew that about you. This opens up a whole new world of Christmas gifts.
Yeah, nope. I've got Nordiques, I've got Golden Seals, I've got Whalers. I think there's a couple other mixed in there, but yeah. So California Golden Seals, I picked them because everyone always likes to think about the places that hockey shouldn't be, like Florida or Southern California. So I always like to bring up that California had a hockey team in the 70s.
They did.
It was also funny because then they became the team in Cleveland that no longer exists either.
Yeah. That's true. And then when Ohio got a team again, it was Columbus.
Yes. And I think that one just popped up part of expansion. That wasn't a defunct moving thing.
I think it did. No, I think it was just it didn't work in Cleveland. Let's try Columbus. And it seems to be working, I guess. I mean, it's working better than it is in Arizona.
All right, what's your number 3?
Okay, so my number 3 and my number 1 are connected, and it is the journey, quite frankly, of how my hometown team became my hometown team.
Okay.
If people know some of this now, you know what my number 1 is.
Yeah, I know what it is.
So, I did not know that before my number 1 defunct team, I thought they were just part of an expansion. No. The expansion came in 1967 when Washington, D.C. got a team. Kansas City, Missouri also got a team, which I did not know about. It's the Kansas City Scout. And I didn't even know that existed.
Huh. That one I didn't know about either.
And by the time they got around, they were founded in 1974. They only played for 2 seasons. That's probably why none of us
knew about it. But the funniest thing, apparently I just keep finding funny things. So because it's Kansas City, Missouri, and they had, you know, their metro area encompasses Missouri and Kansas, they wanted to call the team the Mohawks, taking the M-O from Missouri, and apparently the nickname for Kansas is Jayhawks. I didn't know this, so they put it together. But the Chicago Blackhawks were like, no. We say no to that because it's too similar.
We say no to that.
And also, there is a Mohawk tribe that I don't think is in that area. I think they're in Canada, but don't quote me on that. I'm sorry if I've gotten where indigenous people are from incorrectly. But either way, so they ended up with the Scouts because there's an iconic statue of the Kansas City Scout in the city. And interestingly, so the Blackhawks turned down the name. The Blackhawks also beat them on their opening night. And that's the Kansas City Scouts.
Solid. Now, see, I thought, I'm going to change my answer now because I thought you were going to bring up the Colorado Rockies.
I am going to bring up the Colorado Rockies.
Oh, okay.
Because, do you want me to just go into my number one?
Well, yeah, because I thought that was the end of it, was the Scouts.
No,
and
that was the
like,
end of my number two. So that was the end of my number two. Okay. So I'll just keep rolling.
That was only your number two?
Yes.
Oh, then yeah, keep rolling. Because I was like, I really thought you were at your number one. And I was like, how did you not bring up the Colorado Rockies?
So, since we are going on the journey of how the New Jersey Devils became the New Jersey Devils, because I did not know that the Kansas City Scouts existed before. So they stopped being a team and they moved to Colorado to be the Colorado Rockies, which then in the 80s became the New Jersey Devils. But in 1976, Denver tried its first time bringing a team to Colorado, and they started the Colorado Rockies. Something that I didn't know was that Don Cherry was the head coach of that team. For those of you who don't know who Don Cherry is, he was like Mr. Hockey on Hockey Night in Canada and wore very loud suits and stuff, and then was...
We cannot call him Mr. Hockey. That is reserved for one very special person.
That's true. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
My Detroiter will come out at you.
It's fine. It's fine. Anyway, we don't have to talk about him because he was, you know, removed from broadcast in shame.
But he did have the best suits.
He did have great suits, but, you know.
I mean, not the best from, like, looking good, but the
No,
best
they were
from,
ugly
like,
as
you're
hell.
going to talk about them.
Like, if you are ever at a hockey game and you see a guy in an obnoxious, like, blazer of their team, that is a direct result of the Don Cherryification of Hockey Night in Canada. But he left in disgrace, and by left, he... Look it up if you want. He said some bad things. But apparently this whole time, because he's insane and basically turned the team into a bunch of thugs, like he would say things like, come to the fights and watch the Rockies game break out, which hockey cliche. I guess the GM of the team didn't love that. They wanted a solid hockey team that was vying for the cup and not just a bunch of guys that were just like beating the crap out of each other. It didn't go well. And then they moved to New Jersey. And that's how the New Jersey Devils became the New Jersey Devils.
There you have it. I totally forgot I started this list, so that's why that's why I was like, how are you not bringing up the Colorado Rockies? I totally didn't pick that one because I knew you were going to talk about it.
Well, not all of us can have an original 6 team, Muffy.
I know. We could go through all the name iterations of the Detroit Red Wings because they were not always the Detroit Red Wings.
Oh, I don't think I knew that.
Yeah, I had the Detroit Cougars.
That's a dumb name. So, Muffy, what's your last one?
So, the last one that I was going to talk about is the Minnesota North Stars. They also have a shirt of that team.
I almost picked the North Stars, and then I learned about the Atlanta Flames.
Yes. The Atlanta Flames is a good one. So I picked the Minnesota North Stars because they are now the Dallas Stars. But what's funny about that is like, oh, let's just like basically keep the name. We'll remove the North because we're in the South now. But the entire reason the North Stars moved was because they were in search of better financial conditions. And I was like, if you can't make hockey work in Minnesota.
Right. What are you doing wrong?
Right? Like, I get financial issues in Arizona. It's the desert.
But Minnesota? I'm shocked by this.
And my friend Travis would definitely go into a whole rant about this. But we now have the Minnesota Wild. Minnesota has gotten a hockey team back.
They have.
But it still just cracks me up that we have the Dallas Stars who have basically kept that name and Minnesota had to get a new name.
It's okay, though, because the North Stars branding is not as strong as the Minnesota Wild. The Minnesota
No.
Wild still have the best branding in the entire NHL.
The best font. Best font.
Hands down. Best font, best logo. It's on point. It's like vintage while still being modern. It's classic. You don't know what time it came from.
It's good.
It's so good. This was fun. We should do this
We
again.
should. There are so many others that we haven't even gotten into. But Kansas City, had no clue.
Kansas, who knew?
Who knew?
And Georgia, naming it after a tragedy.
And you know what would also be fun that's kind of aligned to this topic? Would be going through like those iterations of the names. The Red Wings having a different history of names. Because like there was the Montreal Maroons before they were the Montreal Canadiens.
I thought that was a completely different team.
Oh, it might be. I don't know. See, this is why we should keep doing this.
Okay, well, I'll keep this one on the list. I'll just put in the notes which ones we did. So that's it, Muffy. We talked about some defunct teams. We'll talk about some more later. But where can the people find us until the next episode?
So we are on the Facebook, the Instagram, and the Twitter. Again, refusing to call it X. And we will only be on X as long as it is free. There's still rumblings about, making people pay for that. We don't do that. We don't do that shit.
Yep. No.
But we are on Threads. You can hit us up there too. And then, if you want to send us an email, we're at shutyourfiveholepodcast@gmail.com and we'll get back to you. Maybe you can send us some thoughts on your favorite defunct teams.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
And until then.